What type of life is it to hold yourself to one standard of who you were, as if you can't learn things and grow, and as if outcomes cannot be different, as if you are stuck being that person? You're not. Hi guys. It's been too long. It's been too long. Life has been lifing. And here's the good thing though. I didn't freak out. Usually I'd freak out. I'd be like, I'm not being consistent. I haven't posted a video. I was really just going with the flow. I've been surrendering a lot, y'all. And when I seen that things were happening and shooting a video and editing a video, it felt so hard. It just did not fit into the schedule. And I kind of just let life happen. And so during this break, my parents contracted COVID, my son contracted COVID, and then I contracted COVID almost a month ago. So that was like the beginning. Right before that, I had just come from filming my first feature on a podcast, which is coming out very soon, and I'm excited to share with you guys. But I had just gotten back, and he came down with a fever, and then come to find out my parents had it, then the whole family got it. So that took a week out of us, right? And then after that, my husband was traveling. And then when he got back, we went to Costa Rica, which is amazing because it was baby boy's first international trip. So it was good things and like out of control things happening at the same time. I'm happy to share with you guys because we are on this growing and healing journey together, right? And where I would usually feel like I'm falling behind, I kind of just went with what was happening. And I knew that when the time came, I was going to sit down and I was going to shoot this video and we were going to be right back on track like we never left. And things would be rolling as they should. So I'm really happy to be here. So excited to be connecting with you guys again and sharing and just, I missed you. So first and foremost, let's start with our bevy of the day. I have my Pacific Rim Riesling here. This is my favorite white wine. It's very sweet. Again, I've just given in. I'm a sweet girl. We definitely needed wine to come back for today. I feel like because of this break, this topic is very on time. I talked about this in my wrapping up 2023 video, and it's the importance of not being afraid to start over. And how that looks different in different phases. It doesn't always mean you're giving everything up. It doesn't always mean that you got to start from scratch, but always giving yourself permission to reset and start over. One of the biggest things in my life right now that I have to keep starting over, and I think a lot of you can relate, is committing to physically taking care of myself. I have been in and out of the gym for probably a good 15 years now, and I'll have a good stretch. I was most consistent last year. I found Pilates, which I absolutely adore, and I just signed back up for Pilates, and I'm excited about that. But besides this healing journey and the ups and downs, staying committed to myself physically has been so hard because one thing goes with another, and I feel like if I'm not eating properly, then I'm feeling weak at the gym, or I'm feeling nauseous, and then I stop going, and then if I don't meal prep, I don't go, and if I'm not taking the right nutrients, I don't want to go either, because now when you're on Instagram, they're like, you got to take this and you got to take this and it's like all a thing that I think mentally just gets me, it checks me out. I do want to thank Care Of for collaborating with me on this video because their services have been extremely helpful for me, and I think some of you will benefit from it too. So Care Of is a subscription service. You fill out a quiz and it tells you what vitamins, supplements, or powders that you should take depending on what your health goals are. Now that's super helpful for me because if I have too many options, I get confused and I'd rather not take anything. And that's what I've been doing for like the last year. I was on a few vitamins, but then I felt like I was taking too many. Being able to fill out the things that I'm working on in myself, the things that I'm working on in my body. What are my skincare goals? What are my hair goals? What things am I feeling? Am I feeling sluggish and tired? Am I working on energy? You take a quiz that has you answer all of those questions, and at the end of it, it gives you a personalized regimen of the supplements and vitamins that you should take. So I'm most excited about finding my multivitamin because I've been looking for one that fits all of my needs. And also the Focus Blend. Getting into work and staying focused, especially working from home with a toddler, is super tough for me. So I'm excited to see how this works. I love how my name comes on the little packet. Every day I get to open up my packet that says "Hi Tiffany" and it has my multivitamins in them. Like, I feel like that's just a little boost to make me want to take my vitamins each day. But I thought it was so cute, and it has like a quote or a joke on it each day. I think it's really adorable. This one says, "Smell the roses, smell the coffee, whatever it is that makes you happy. Smell the tea and wine. That's what makes me happy." I'm gonna DIY some things, but there's some things I'm absolutely gonna outsource. And subscribing for things and allowing people who know what they're doing to do what they do is very important to me. So going on and being able to fill out that quiz and having experts help me and figure out what I need at this time in my life has been chef's kiss. Thank you, care of. So if you're looking for the right vitamins for your body, you don't want to take too many, you just want exactly what you need, the link is going to be down in the description along with my code so you can get 50% off your first purchase. Make sure to take the quiz and get only what you need, nothing more, nothing less. Let's get to it. Let's get to this health. I told you guys this year was my year of physical health and finding that true harmony, continuing that harmony, because that was my goal last year, but continuing that harmony and filling in the gaps of what I did not hit last year. And so the card that I'm pulling today from my I'm Listening self-reflection deck is, this is a 2-part question. Is there any part of my life that feels stagnant? And what is one action I can take today towards changing that? Back when I did the self-trust video, we touched on the reason that we don't want to start again a lot of the time is because we've started so many times and then we've given up on ourselves. And what that tells us is that we can't trust the fact that we're going to see something through, right? And so that's what always makes it hard to restart something, to go after it again, or to leave something that we're doing right now to start something new. Because in our mind, we're like, is this something that we're actually going to follow through with? If I held myself to that standard, if I held that over my head, the fact that I wasn't always consistent, the fact that I gave up in the past version of me gave up. If I held that over my head and held myself to that standard, I would never be where I am right now. Let's also celebrate really quickly, guys. We hit 100K. We did it. Remember, that was a goal for the first quarter. And so I want to say that because for 5 years, I kept doing some videos on YouTube and stopping, and doing a little more and stopping, and changing my gears and stopping and then starting again. And while to someone else, or even myself, if I look at it, it might look like, God, you were inconsistent, or you didn't give it your all. You kept giving up. You don't see things through. I could say it that way. I could see it that way, and I could come down on myself, and I could have been like, listen, it didn't work for you last time. And even the times that you did give it your all, it didn't work out. So why are you trying again? I could have held myself to that standard, right? But if I had done that to myself, if I had given up on myself, and if I did not rebuild that trust with myself and say, no, this time is going to be different because these are the lessons I learned. These are the things I know I don't want to do again. These are the things I did before that I did not love. Now I feel really connected to this thing. I feel really connected to what I want to do. So I'm going to give it my all. And I made a pact with myself. And I said, I don't care who shows up. If it's going to be 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, awesome. But I know that this is what's coming through me. I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to follow through. So when we lose self-trust and we don't want to start something again, it's almost like we're saying we can never grow from that person we were before. And what type of life is that to live? What type of life is it to hold yourself to one standard of who you were, as if you can't learn things and grow, and as if outcomes cannot be different, as if you are stuck being that person? You're not. Those are decisions that we get to make. We get to make a decision of whether we want to change a habit, whether we want to learn something new, whether we want to change a belief or expand our knowledge. We have the choice to do that. When I got back on the horse and said I'm going for it, I made a commitment to see it through. And what I said was, I'm not going to stop until I feel like I have no more messages to give. Until I feel like this is no longer for me. And I'm open to saying that with anything I do in life. You know, there are some people who are like, commit and just keep going no matter what. And for me, it's commit and keep going as long as it's something that's in your heart. You have to be able to determine the difference between feeling discouraged because you're not getting the accolades and you're not getting the views and you're not getting the validation from people. Do you feel discouraged because of that? Or do you feel disconnected from the thing? I've experienced both. I've experienced not feeling connected to the thing and being addicted to the accolades and the applause and the views and the money. And I was unfulfilled. And I've experienced the opposite of doing what I love and not receiving the accolades, but I was way more fulfilled over here. And that's because I made a conscious decision to be connected to what I was doing, right? I say all that to say I made this commitment that I would keep going as long as my heart still desired to be talking about what I'm talking about, as long as God kept pushing these messages through me feeling that emotional connection to it and needing to share it. Until I had no more to share, I was going to keep going, right? And so I would have still been sitting here doing these videos and it would have been hard, but I've done it before. And that is what Oh, that's such a good moment. That's what showing up does for you. Showing up over and over and over again. What it does is it builds your resilience. I feel like the beginning process of starting over, the beginning process of getting in, it may feel like, damn, but I gave up last time. But I think as soon as you get back on the horse, when you can look back, as I can look back, I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for every time I failed or I felt like I failed, that I took a lesson from it and then I got back on and I made it a little better. And then, okay, another failure. Failing forward is what my friend Paige says. I failed forward. And I'm like, okay, I learned a lesson from that. Now what can we? And I just kept tweaking and I was about to say tweaking and twerking. I was twerking too. That's that's the way I get through some of my problems. Sometimes you just gotta twerk. But I was tweaking and changing things around, taking parts away and putting parts back in, and then the formula worked itself out. And I it's just not a coincidence. Y'all, it's not a coincidence. I'm not lucky because I had a choice to make last summer. I had a choice to stay where I was and to feel low and stay in that dark place, or to get clear about what I wanted to see in the world, what I wanted to bring to the world, what I wanted to create, and to just start moving towards that. You know, when they say there's a point in your life where all the puzzle pieces fit together. And I feel like I am truly entering that part of my life where I'm like, I see why I had to give up and fall so many times, because I feel resilient. I feel like I still would have been pushing through because I've already been through 5-6 years of pushing for something and seeing a little bit of growth. And that is what built my character. It's what allowed me to push through here. I also want to remind you that I was on YouTube from 2018 to 2023. I hit 20K back in 2018. Got to 20K, and then I was stagnant at 20K from 2018 to 2023. And in 2023, when I got clear about my vision and when I wasn't afraid of what anybody had to say, and I knew that I was talking from my heart, between September of 2023 to now, I went from 20K to 100K. And those who get it, get it. It is not about the numbers. I am not parading numbers around. Y'all know that is not my steez at all. It's about alignment. It is about when you get in alignment with who you are and what you want to bring to this world and what you're passionate about, things start to fall into place. I get a few people who ask me like, well, what if I don't know what my thing is? What if I don't know, if I go to start over and I don't know what the thing is to do? I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what your thing is. Only you know what your thing is. And it was the same for me. I had a whole team of people. And because I was unclear about what I wanted for myself and what my goals were, and I was out of alignment, I couldn't lead a team, or I couldn't have people truly helping me because I couldn't express what I needed and what I wanted, right? And what my vision truly was. That was on me. That was on me to sit down and get quiet with myself and to hear myself and understand what I truly wanted to see. I would say this, and you know, I like to use myself as an example because I feel like that's the best way for us to connect and for you to understand. I know exactly what you're going through. If you've been here and you've been watching my videos, you know that the trait that I avoided for so long that ended up being everything I needed to embrace was my sensitivity. I tried to not be sensitive. I tried to be defensive, and it was just a way of protecting myself from being so sensitive and hurt so easily. And sensitive people are easily, if they have not honed their power, and if they don't own the fact that they are sensitive and walk powerfully in that, they're easily overpowered and taken advantage of. And people can see it as weakness. And so before I knew the power of my sensitivity and before I was confident in it, it was taken advantage of. It was made fun of. You know, being a quiet person in a room of loud people, you can feel unheard and talked over. And so it felt negative to me as a young girl. And so for most of my childhood and a lot of my 20s, I just didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be sensitive. I didn't want people to know that. And although looking back now, it was still very apparent. It was still very on my sleeve. You could still see it I was not embracing it. And so it didn't matter what the world saw. The fact that inside I wasn't embracing it, I was at war with myself. And so if I had never embraced that, had you asked me in my 20s what I wanted my career to be, what I wanted my what I wanted to do, what was my purpose. I would have never said anything to do with sensitivity, with me being a sensitive person. I would have never said that because I was trying to lean so far from being that. I leaned into every other part of myself of things that I liked, and I tried to make it work. I tried to only do fashion because for me, I got to hide behind the clothes. Nobody got to me, right? And my soul was like, nope, that ain't it. And then I did influencing, and I tried to do lifestyle, which was mostly like, just talking about the products and the family and it was like, nope, that ain't it. So I feel like until we embrace who we truly are, and until we acknowledge every part of ourselves, the dark parts, the great parts that we have labeled as dark or as bad or as something we don't want to embrace or as weird, until we embrace those things, we will never know. We'll never know who we're truly meant to be. I feel like we'll never fully express ourselves or live the highest expression of ourselves. So I encourage you, if you are in a place of not knowing where to start over, where to focus on, I would encourage you to start to dig deep. Start to journal about things that you find weird about yourself. And why do you find it weird? Who told you it was weird? Where did that start? Things that you are avoiding in yourself. Even conflicts or things that you've just buried down. Anything that we are ashamed of or trying to hide, it's stopping us from meeting different parts of ourselves. It's stopping us from healing different parts of ourselves. And that's what I mean by you're the only one who has the answers. Because you can even go to therapy, and a therapist is only going to help you to see those things. I was in therapy for, I think, 3 years. It wasn't until my most current therapist that I realized, I have to really do the work. Like, I can't just, they're not going to fix me, because I would feel so great once I had the problem diagnosed or clarity on what I was going through. I think I would leave the session kind of feeling like, I know what it is now. It's good. And it's like, no, that's where the work begins. Going back to only you can fix the thing. Only you know the answers. Your therapist can say, hey, you have this, and this going on. But it is for you to go back and be like, all right, these are the things I need to work on. This is what's going on. Your therapist can't do that part for you. The work that you do on yourself outside of anybody else, outside of your friendships, your relationship, your therapy sessions, that is the most important work. And having that time to yourself to understand yourself and hear yourself is important, because there might even be things you don't necessarily say in therapy. You might be hinting at it, you might get to the point of it, but sitting with yourself and getting honest and being able to journal and be truly, deeply honest about all the things, that is where the healing happens. It's not the prettiest thing. It hurts. Sometimes you need to cry and sometimes you need to grieve. I've found myself grieving lately because when I had to start over and change the direction of my content, completely uproot almost everything that I had been working on for the past 2 to 3 years, that was really hard for me. And I think I was going through a grieving process for a better half of last summer. It's not easy. I never want to bring these things to you as if it's a 1, 2, 3 change, or it's going to be just like a one day, like, I decided. It's a hard thing to do when you decide to start over. So I'm not saying it's not going to be hard, but what I'm saying is it's not impossible. And there is not any point in your life where you should stay where you can no longer grow. There's no time in your life that you should settle for what's not bringing you joy. Here's something else to think about. If you are always starting over, I challenge you to take some time to yourself to get clear about why do you keep starting over? What do you keep running from? What is not working? And what things are you repeating? Because a lot of times it's something that we are still avoiding if we keep jumping from one thing to another. And it's insanity if we are going to repeat the same things over and over and over and expect a different reality and a different outcome. Getting clear about what is this start over for? And what is different? What have you learned from what you did before that you're not going to repeat this time? That's what this last summer was for me. It was a deep, deep, deep dive into myself. And y'all, it was not pretty, okay? It wasn't pretty. I'm talking some days were literally just tears and journaling and praying and listening to what was coming through. Let's take a sip. If you are at a point where you feel like you need to start over, you need something fresh, whether it's in your career, in a relationship, if you're starting a new hobby, if it's your workout journey, which I'm with you, because we don't think about it as much, but your physical health is such a huge part of your mental health. Whatever part of your journey that you are starting over, I am rooting you on. if you have to go against the grain of who you are, and if it feels icky, if it feels like this does not feel good. I'm not talking about I have this goal, this thing I love, but the work feels a little bit hard, or this feels like it's stretching me or pulling me. I'm not talking about that, because I have yet to create something or birth something, quite literally birthing a child, but birthing a business or an idea or working out. I've never created or birthed anything that meant something to me that I didn't have to stretch myself for. Oh, doesn't that fit in every sense of the word? Birthing a child, changing your body. You gotta stretch yourself, go through the growing pains, and sometimes that feels a little uncomfortable because you're doing things you've never done before. You're learning things and it does feel a little hard. That's a different type of pain and uncomfortability than going against your values, your morals, the things that make you you. Everything you're doing in life should align with that. And that's hard to hear because for so long we were told total opposite. Like, life is just hard. Things are just difficult. You don't have to like what you do. You just need to go to work. Everything has been made to seem like nothing is about your intuition. Nothing is about what's aligned with you. And that's not the truth. You know, breaking away from that and starting anew, for me, started with listening to myself and getting in clear alignment with myself. That was a hard process. That was a painful process to get to growing and stretching into the woman that I am today. I had to go through a dark period. I had to go through a period of shedding and of crying and of letting things come up and out and getting clear about what wasn't working. Please write that down. Please write down what's not working, what's not feeling good, and write down your ideal of what would feel good. I always say 9 out of 10 times, 9.9 out of 10 times, when you have a moment to truly sit with yourself and think about what a good life would feel like, it is not sitting on the couch every single day doing nothing. We all desire to do something that brings us joy. We just don't believe that we can do that thing and also make a living or even make it a hobby. We don't believe that we deserve to do things that just simply bring us joy and pleasure. And I hope that you can give yourself permission to at least try and build a life that feels good for you. And you'll be surprised when you start taking those steps. You'll be shocked at the stuff that you tell yourself in your mind you can't do, you're not supposed to do. And then you realize that that is all the conditioning and the things that other people told you, and that is their reality, not yours. You can't listen to people that are not doing it for themselves. Go sit with people that want, I don't even want to say want big lives, people that just want aligned lives that feel good for them. Talk to those people. Find those people. And if you can't find them, keep looking. Keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. I keep telling y'all, Facebook groups, search classes or clubs or meetings in your area. I mean, a lot of times it may be small, but it exists and you have to look for it. You gotta work a little bit for it. And also listen to yourself. Let's speak out loud. Let's speak to the universe. Let's pray and let's call in what we're looking for. And then seriously follow the signs that you are being given, because a lot of times when I feel lost and when I don't know what the next step is, it is prayer and it is talking out loud to the universe. Like, hey, this is what's happening. I need you to send me a sign. I'm trying to get from here to here and I don't see it. I don't know how, but can you show me a sign? And so many times, like 5 years ago when I was invited to be on a panel and then I met one of my closest friends, had I not been speaking the things that I wanted, because at that time I was talking about meeting like-minded women, I was talking about growing my business and getting more stable in my family, and within a couple months I was pregnant, I had a manager and I was making 5 figures a month, and I had met one of the most important women in my life. It's crazy because I didn't see it then. I was just in the midst of all of it because that was also the time that COVID was happening. But like, as I'm talking about it, I remember that was one of my most powerful manifestation moments because I was just fed up with where I was. And I spoke it every day powerfully. And within a couple months, things had changed. So if I hadn't went to that panel though, I wouldn't have met her. The signs look like that sometimes. Pray for it, ask for it, genuinely from a good space, and see what things come up for you and follow that. Step out of your comfort zone, because if you want something different, you got to do something different. I don't have steps for starting over, but I will say this. It's important to understand why you want to start over. What are you trying to get away from? What are you trying to change? What does not feel good? What does feel good? What things do you want to keep and amplify? And what things need to change? And understanding that starting over at different parts of your journey is going to look different. Sometimes it means, yes, You got to drop everything, because maybe your friendships and your relationship and your job are coming from places of trauma and unaligned places that you were in before. And so you took that job and you stayed there with that toxic manager, and you stayed in this toxic relationship, and you have these friendships because that's just who you were before. But now you're trying to change and you want to be a different person. And so maybe, yes, starting over is going to require you to shed all these things. Stay prayed up. Stay in a place of belief and holding on to the vision that you have for your life, because I promise you that there are greater things working for us. There are greater things working for us out there. And if you speak it and you believe in it, trust that it can happen and it will happen. But also know that the process of things falling off is not always pretty. The process of change and starting over is not always pretty. And 9 times out of 10, it's not pretty. It's painful and it's sad, because the things that you wanted to be true are not. And they begin to fall off. Stick with it. Stay committed to your dream. Stay committed to your goal, or that vision that you have. Because as these things shed, it's making room for the things that you are actually asking for. They have to shed in order to get to where you want to be. If you're in a place where you are just wanting to upgrade, maybe your starting over is not a complete drop off. Maybe your relationship is amazing, but your job is not it. Know that wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever age you are, it is never too late to go after making your life feel better for you. And if you're being pulled to do it, that is a sign, that is God, that is the universe, whatever you call it. It is pulling you, and it is trying to give you a sign and trying to give you a hand, and you just got to take it. Sometimes you're going to get a pull and you may feel like, this feels a little different for me. Like me going to speak on a panel 5 years ago. It was like, not my thing. I'm starting to learn to take those signs and take those hints, to pay attention to, after I ask for something, what are the things that pop up that may seem out of my comfort zone, different for me, something I wouldn't normally go after. Because again, when you are asking for something different experiences need to happen. You need to be in different places. And so if you ask for something and then you see a flyer to go to this meeting, don't go back to your norm. Don't go back to like, I want to go, but I'm gonna have to go alone. Don't do that. Or I want to go, but I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know if I need to spend money on. If you ask for change and if you ask for something different, then you absolutely need to go to that thing, especially if it's something that you prayed on. You prayed on change. You prayed for a difference in your life, something to shift. And then you see something that sparks your interest. It may not even be directly in connection to what you asked for, but it's something that sparks you. Go. You never know. It's one person, or one person on the way there or on the way back, or it's not your job. And I'm convinced that the universe likes to make these plans crazy, and you'd be shocked at how it happens, because that's just the way that God works, and it makes me smile and it makes me happy. Sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes you're like, did that really need to happen? But God likes to shock us and likes to make sure that you are showing up as who you say you want to be. New friendships, or, to change your body, or a new career, or new hobbies. And then you get the opportunity and you keep saying no because it's not something you're comfortable with. Well, then you're going to stay in the same place. So in order to start over, take those signs. Be bold and be sure about what you desire, and that it is absolutely possible. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so glad to be back. I can't wait to drop more videos. I hope you loved this video. I hope it hit you in the heart, and I hope that you know you are worth going after everything you desire. You are worth starting over for, and you deserve to enjoy your experience here on this earth. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Until next time, keep living in love, in light, and in your truth. Mwah. Bye.